Yeah, 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 yeah. Boy, check 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. What's good, Regis recipients? How are y'all doing today? Let me know in the comment section. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Regis Reflections. Y'all already know each and every episode we have a different athlete on the podcast. And this week we decided to take it old school for you all. You know what I'm saying? Since the holidays coming up, a little gift. We decided to give former Notre Dame quarterback Malik Zaire. Say what's up to the people, Malik.
Man, thanks for having me. It's an awesome opportunity to do it all the way in Paris, and I'm all the way here. But hey, we still making it work. That's how you know Notre Dame is far-reaching, man. Far-reaching out here.
It's a strong bond, strong bond. So, Malik, on a scale of 1 to 10, let's start off. How is your mental health right now? With 10 being amazing and 1 being the lowest.
I feel like I'm floating around a 7 or 8. You know, I think everybody goes through different stages in life and different challenges at certain points, and being mentally strong is probably the biggest thing. Is probably better than being physically strong. Being mentally strong and staying locked in, because if you're mentally strong, you get through anything. And so having that positive attitude that I try to continue to carry each day, no matter what happens, I think helps me get through a lot of things that, you know, some people seem to struggle with. So, I mean, we all have our struggles, but staying positive and staying locked in and mentally happy is always happy.
That's true. That's true. He's starting off right. Starting off right, Regis recipients. It's gonna be a banger episode. So, Regis recipients, as I mentioned before, Malik here was a quarterback for the University of Notre Dame. So, Malik, could you just talk a little bit about where you're from and what made whom or what got you into the sport of football?
I'm from Dayton, Ohio. One of the birthplace for aviation. That's what they say, right? What got me into football was just being the only child and having that connection with friends and competitive nature of what sports brings really attracted me to it. And then, it's one of those things where you want to be really good and continue to get good at. So I really focused a lot of my energy on being the best player I could be, and it worked out. I mean, I continued to see myself climb through the ranks, and just really happy with what I was able to accomplish and to keep going with. So, my dad got me into it, and being with my friends, and they were all into it. So I just wanted to be the best at what I was able to do. Like you say, being your best self. So that's what I just focused on.
That's good. That's good. Having started off strong and been on that foundation. So, as a quarterback, I've done my homework, I've done my research, and I've seen the tape and the film. You were seen as a dual threat quarterback, but also a left-handed quarterback. So, was there kind of any quarterback that kind of inspired you to become a dual threat, like Mike Vick or Steve Young? Were there any of those quarterbacks that kind of inspire you to not only have the good run game, but also the good passing game as well?
Yeah, I mean, nowadays dual threat is not even a thing, because you look at the NFL, everybody's a dual threat. If you want to be good, I mean, you got to be able to get away from these guys that are getting more athletic in the front end. These guys are 6'7", running 4.5s and ridiculous speed, so you need to be able to get away from people. But Drew Brees and Mike Vick have always been my two favorite guys to watch, one for size comparison and the other because they're electric. One in the passing game, one in the dynamic run game, but also being able to throw the football. I had all Mike Vick shoes growing up. I mean, huge Mike Vick fan. And, now it's Lamar Jackson in this generation, who's my class. So it's awesome to see. And, man, I just always use what I've found in life is that you got to have mentors. So your mentors in life help you get places. I don't think you get anywhere without a mentor. So I was fortunate enough to have mentors, even though they didn't I ended up meeting them at a certain point in life. I met Drew Brees, I met Mike Vick, but aspiring to be like them on my journey to get to where I was in football, I mean, it was really awesome, because when you get to see the process done in front of you by people you look up to, it makes it a lot easier to get there. So I've always took that model after football and just continue to try to have that success.
That's good. That's good. Interesting point of view. So, throughout Ohio and throughout your high school career, you were seen as a top recruit, and not only as the normal class, but also the quarterback class as well. And you were seen as a top dual threat quarterback. So, what were kind of the reasonings why you ended up choosing to go and commit to University of Notre Dame to continue your college or continue your football career?
Well, Notre Dame's one of those places that's hard to say no to. You get a lot of people. Well, at my school particularly, I went to a Catholic high school. So, everybody wanted to go to Notre Dame for some reason. That was just like the big brother school to what everybody went to school for at my Catholic high school. But it was one of those things where it was a rare opportunity. I could have gone to a lot of different universities around the country, but Notre Dame just stood out. To be able to have half of the success that you do, but you make it to a place like Notre Dame. You obviously they talk about that 4 for 40, but you get a lot more out of what I felt like from an experience in college outside of just the college experience. You get the network, you get that high level education, you get that unique spotlight in sports. So many different aspects that Notre Dame offers that you can't find too many other places. And then for it to be catered to football for what I felt like I worked so hard for getting to that point, I thought the reward was Notre Dame. So, I found a lot of solace in that. And it worked out, man. I mean, could have went to a lot of different places, but Notre Dame just felt like the place that would have continued to challenge me in the right ways and have a certain level of discipline and a certain place where you wouldn't lax. You can't lax. You go to Notre Dame, even from the school to the football to all things included, is going to present something for you to push yourself towards. And I felt like Notre Dame was that perfect niche for me, coming from a small Catholic high school to go to Notre Dame where it's another version of a Catholic university. You just see a lot of similarities, but also a lot of things that people go from Notre Dame and have great success to. And I felt like I wanted to follow in that. I wanted to follow in that chain of command. And it's crazy because it doesn't happen for everybody, and it's not for everybody. So for all these things to present itself, I felt like, okay, this was the next level for me, and I ended up choosing Notre Dame.
Wow, good choice. I really like how you said the challenge aspect of Notre Dame, because Notre Dame, they really pride themselves on not only challenge you academically, but like from an athletic standpoint, they're going to push you to your best, and you're going to be in the highest regards at all times. And no matter what, if you're an athlete or you're just a regular student, you're going to be like that 4 for 40 is always going to be set, and it's going to set you for the future. But from your perspective,
4 for 40 is real. I mean, you see, they obviously push the amount of success that people have coming from Notre Dame, and it's kind of cool to see how everybody's process is different. You know what I mean? And to be able to be a part of something like that, I think it's just next level. And I don't regret the decision. And you find that Notre Dame is far reaching, even though it's a small school. There's people all over the world that have some part of Notre Dame in it. And I mean, you're in Paris right now, and I think that's just an amazing experience through a Notre Dame program. So that kind of inspired me on a lot of different levels, business wise, and it expands your mind to not just limiting yourself to just having one look at things, because anybody could have went to Ohio State and you stay in Ohio. I wanted to take my talents and my efforts and take it to another level. So getting to where I am today, I mean, it's just a part of the success that comes from going to Notre Dame.
That's real. It's a lot of challenges, a lot of discipline, and it comes in and back in with a lot of success. But for you personally, going from Ohio, small Catholic school, playing football, were there any challenges from that transition from that to Notre Dame? If so, what were they?
I think a lot of it was, some social challenges, being a part of a place where everybody has some sort of success or aspire to be something. So you can't really lax. And then just the football aspect, you got guys from all over the country. It's not a regional school. So you got kids from Texas, Florida, California, Delaware, Massachusetts. So being able to be a leader, especially a quarterback, and really include everybody and function in a positive way was a challenge. It's different than going to Ohio State or Florida, where I went to my grad transfer year, where 90% of the team is from Florida. At Notre Dame, 2% of the team is from Ohio, right? And so everybody else you got to mix with culturally, socially. So that was a challenge in the locker room, but at the end of the day, we were a very close team, and because of that.
So for those challenges, what kind of ways did you what kind of ways or perceptions did you use to overcome those challenges? Did you talk to anyone? Did you do anything? Did you kind of pull your teammates aside, or were you kind of like riding solo until you found the Notre Dame groove?
Say that one more time.
I said, how were you able to kind of overcome those challenges, and what techniques were you able to use to to overcome those challenges?
A lot of it is just taking it day by day. I think a lot of times you got to take a step back and realize that Rome wasn't built in a day, and that every day you got to have a goal-oriented mindset. Just accomplish one thing at a time. And I think just being at Notre Dame, I think just being able to do one thing at a time, and you look up and then you're 4 years down the line, just shows that you really put a lot of commitment into things, and that when it works out, you're just super blessed, man. I'm just super blessed to be able to have a far-reaching network. And I think that's the goal of a Notre Dame, to have a network that is expansive and that you can connect with anywhere you're at. And it's second to none, man. And just talking to people that have been through it. I think going back on the mentor side of things, you got to have a mentor in life if you want to achieve certain success in your industry or your field. Guys that you can look up to, that you not necessarily do everything that they've done, but you see how they've gotten to the end result. And I think that being able to talk and have older guys that I looked up to and followed and developed my own path from, it helped me carve out my own path and get to the end of the goal, which is to graduate and to have that success that is, obviously is subjective, but I thought it was very helpful for me to get to that next level.
That's very key. I like the aspect again on mentorship, having that kind of that person to help guide you and lead you in the right pathway, and to kind of be there to give you advice. That's really key, an aspect of really no matter what you do in life, athletics, academics, or even just the business side. So that's very key and unique to hear from your perspective. But another topic I want to touch on is, so going from Ohio, now you're at the University of Notre Dame. We know that the University of Notre Dame is a PWI mainly. Were there any challenges for you being an African-American male on campus as well as being on the athletic team? Were there any challenges for you with that, because it was a different time period than we are now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's tons of challenges being African-American. From a social standpoint, you look around, there's not too many of us on campus. So I was fortunate enough to be a part of the football team where majority of the African-Americans are, unfortunately. But I think that being able to have that community feel and still be able to operate in a successful way, it's a unique experience. That's why I said it's not meant for everybody. But I tend not to try to look too much what didn't go right, but just take advantage of the 4 years that I was there. So connecting to the other students on campus that are Black, and just being if anything, just being just taking on the challenges, because at the end of the day, there's so many things that happen at Notre Dame where you can't even really sit down and evaluate everything until after you leave school. You're like, I got so much I got to do on a day-to-day that it's going to take a lot for me to just sit there and be like, well, damn, I'm one of the few African-Americans here. You're like, damn, I'm trying to get past this test. I got to get this stuff done. I got to go to lifting. I got to do this football thing. It's just so much that you're just bombarded with in a short period of time. So taking a step back, you're like, damn, I'm glad that I'm part of the Black Alumni Association, and I'm glad to be making a statement and a staple for myself as a Black man at Notre Dame. But man, it was just amazing to just take that experience. And then, Notre Dame being a small school, you end up realizing that, okay, yeah, it may not be that many Black people there, but the Black people that are there are very special. That's They have a lot of different qualities, and what got them there is always an interesting story. And to be able to connect on that level and have friendships that last outside of Notre Dame and beyond is something that is a unique experience, and that you're very grateful for. Not that I didn't have experiences and grateful relationships with non-African Americans, but for the Black people that are there, it's a special group. I always call it the Avengers, man, because we always, we come from all over. I mean, it's not just Ohio. I mean, you come from other countries, you come from all over the United States. So to be able to have that collective, it's just a special thing that, I'm trying to build now. I'm trying to build a collective of Black alumni from all over the country, all over the world, so we can have our special interest group and do certain things as a unit and be connected on that aspect and in reflection of being at Notre Dame. Because everybody knows that when you go through Notre Dame, it's a challenge. And so when you make it to the other side, it's like you're appreciative of the people that were able to get through it as well. Because it's like you said, and like I said, it's not meant for everybody, but the people that can get through it are special people at the end of the day.
That's real. That's real. It's a challenge, like you said. And I like the standpoint of you saying taking on every challenge head first. I feel like that's what God calls us to do. No challenge is too big for us. So your freshman year at Notre Dame, you didn't see that much playing time. Now, fast forward to your sophomore year at the University of Notre Dame. Now you're in a quarterback battle. What are your initial thoughts during that QB battle? Are you feeling any nervous, anxious? Are you taking the challenge head on?
I was pissed off. I mean, everybody wants to play when you get to college and stuff, and I just felt like I felt personally that my opportunity should have been there, but it's not about how you feel. It's about what you can do when your opportunity comes. And so that's what you kind of break it down to. I think it's a selfish mindset to be like, I should be doing this, I should be doing this, I should be doing this. But until that opportunity comes, and that's when you have to actualize if you're ready for that situation or not. And so I've always tried to reverse engineer my mindset about, okay, it doesn't matter about what I think I deserve. You got to work until you see the results. And when the chance comes, are you going to take advantage? Because when that chance comes and you don't take advantage, nobody's going to feel bad for you. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to be like, oh, you should have did this. You should. It's either you take advantage or you don't. That's what you learn in Notre Dame. It's like when the chance comes, are you ready for it? Do you maximize that opportunity or not? Because at the end of the day, you can't blame anybody but yourself. So during that battle or what was going on, it was tough mentally because there's no rule book or no guidelines on how you get through it, right? There's nobody sitting there being like, you got to think like this, you got to be like this. It's a selfish experience. It's a selfish experience, but when you get through it, I mean, it makes it all better in the end of the day.
That's a good stamp. I like that kind of how you rerouted your mind in a sense to kind of attack that, because we see a lot of people nowadays when they have quarterback battles or even just different battles for different positions in football, they kind of don't take it the best way. They kind of get upset, but it's kind of to see who can be the best at all times. And I feel like that's what coaches ask for.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta look at it like, man, at the end of the day, it's all subjective. Are you better or are you not better? It doesn't really matter. It's about when you get that chance, can you maximize it?
That's true. Maximize on that chance. So to fast forward later that year in 2014, the Music City Bowl, you were playing, and possibly some people even say that was possibly one of the best games of your career, or even the best game at Notre Dame. So during that Music City Bowl for you, did you feel any different before that game? Did you do anything different? How were you feeling throughout that game? Because you were doing everything good in the passing game and the running game as well.
Man, honestly, I was just ready to play with my friends, man. I mean, I've been behind the scenes. I was like doing everything to prepare myself with guys that were in my class, and the guys that were in my class were getting opportunities to play before me and having some success. So it was always like the odd man left out. I was like, damn, do they believe that I'm good too? You know, I wanted to prove myself to my teammates, and so being able to be prepared for that moment and maximize that opportunity, I thought that was just a culmination of everything that my theory of just working till you see the results, right? So that's all I was thinking, man. Just how do I gain the respect of my teammates by being able to do my job at a high level, and everything else will take care of itself. I mean, it's a lot to process, you know, when you think about everything that goes into it from the moment, quote unquote. But when you're like, I was more pissed off of and trying to just be the best I can be. Like, man, this is my chance to show all of y'all that I should have been doing this a long time ago. So that's kind of really what I was thinking. And it got us through. I mean, we won the game. And even in that game, it was some challenges. You know, I was splitting time and a bunch of stipulations that a lot of people could complain about. You know, it wasn't a perfect situation, but to be able to make the most out of it, that's all that really mattered to me, man, because at the end of the day, you know, you can only control the things you can control. And what I could control is my effort, my attitude, and being able to be prepared. And in doing that, I gained the respect. I got a bowl game MVP. We got a win. it set a good trajectory for me for the next year to go in and start and have a clear mind and a clear direction. But the situation is it is what it is. You know, you got to make the most out of it, and that's just Notre Dame in general, man. You got to make the most out of those 4 years that you're there, 5 years that you're there, because it'll fly by. You know, especially if you're complaining, and that's the one thing that I didn't want to in the Notre Dame career with is complaining about what should have happened, could have happened, should have been, could have been, that whole thing. It was like, damn, what can I do today to get me closer to, in my mind, what I needed to get done to get my job done? And so you want to be mindful. I think that's another important point. Being mindful and present in the moment, man. You can't, like, you know, they say you don't look on social media to compare yourself to other people because they always live in extravagant lives that aren't necessarily the realest thing in the world, you know. But, you know, if you focus and you put your mind on what other people are doing and how they're living, you'll be in misery. So it's sort of the same thing, man. You got to run your own race, and your journey is your journey. Like, and the things that you aspire to do, they're attainable and achievable. It's just the time in which it takes to do it is different for everybody. And so that's kind of like my culmination of what I got from being at Notre Dame is that, you know, your journey is your journey, but the cool thing is that everybody has a starting point, you know, that freshman year, and then people at different levels, there's levels to this, but, you know, you're at Notre Dame, you got the resources available to you. And so it's just a unique ass experience, man. Would I do it again? I mean, maybe. I mean, shoot, to do it again and have opportunities and look back on where things are and what they could have been is crazy, man. But I was grateful that I went through that experience because it prepares you for life after school. You know, life after school is the bigger fight and the bigger challenge. So when you take a step back and look at it from that perspective, it's like, man, you just enjoy that little bubble life that you live for the 4 or 5 years in Notre Dame.
It's all about experience, and everyone has their own journey, like you said. So, as you said, from that sophomore year, the Music City Bowl. Now, fast forward to you starting your junior year, and all was well until the Virginia game, where you had an injury and you broke your ankle and you missed the rest of the season. So, I want to know, what were your initial thoughts when the injury happened? Did you feel the injury? Were you worrying about like family? Were you just worrying about the rest of your football career? Like, what were you mentally feeling during that stressful moment?
Man, I was sad, man. It was just real sad, man. Honestly, one of the worst situations that could happen to you at that time. I was messed up, man, because it was just like, you know, you work so hard to put yourself in that position and to be hurt on something that you, I mean, you know, could or couldn't control, whatever, but just everything that comes after that, not being able to play with your boys. And it felt like the perfect moment for me to be in that spot at the starting quarterback and the schedule we had and the guys on the team at the time. And, you know, everything was passing you by while you're sitting on the bed with your ankle broke. So it was just another challenge that presented itself. And it was tough to deal with, man, because once again, you don't have a rule book on how to handle adversity on that level or on that experience. So it was real tough, man. And you know, you go through the ups and downs of getting through different challenges, but you know, I got to see the brighter side of that at the end of the day. And but you know, one of the darker times at Notre Dame for me, just because of when it happened and how it happened, and it was rough.
So for that period, you said it was another challenge. How were you able to kind of get out that challenge for you? Did you talk to anyone? Were you kind of really just in your own bubble during that period, or were you just trying to push yourself to really try and come back?
I mean, you know, with the window being that you're only there for 4 or 5 years, it's a lot different than how college football is now. But for the window in which you were available to even play, it was just tough. You know, you talk to people and all of that, but it's really something that you got to find within yourself to pull yourself up and to find that next challenge, that next goal to get to. So getting back healthy was obviously the what you look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
But the road along that way, you find more about how strong you are on an individual level and what you're able to handle and the adversity that you're able to take and the different things you can do to uh, find a greater strength within yourself. So find a different way to have leadership, find a different way to connect with your team, find a different way to help the team. So um, it was rough, man. I mean, it's not no easy thing to deal with at that time, and it's one of those things that builds character. You take these lumps, and as you go through things, it's challenging, but it's not the end of the world. But finding ways to remotivate yourself and new goals is what matters.
New goals. I like that. And kind of moving forward. So you missed, unfortunately, your junior year and then your senior year. And for your fifth year, you decided to transfer to University of Florida. What was the reasoning for you transferring down to the South to Florida instead of staying at Notre Dame for that fifth year option?
Really, I graduated. So I graduated, I got my time done, and it was a second chance at recruitment to go anywhere. So I was like, okay, well, shoot, this is like a second chance at life, quote unquote, so to speak. So I was taking some visits and got an opportunity to go down to the SEC where they said the football is the best and this, that, and the third, and Florida and, that whole thing. So it was just a good opportunity to see a different side of things. And it had nothing to do with not wanting to be at Notre Dame. It's just I graduated, I seen all I could see and had that experience, and I wanted to see what it was like at a different environment, different school. So it was really simple for me. It wasn't like a huge decision, so to speak, but no regrets. I just chose a different path.
And how was that experience for you transferring from, I guess, Notre Dame to now being in the SEC and being from the snow to the sunshine in Florida?
Definitely love the weather. I mean, I've always wanted to be down there in Florida in some capacity, and it was just, man, it's just one of those things, man, where you go through these things that you don't know and these experiences that you have where you think you know and you don't know exactly, and things work out sometimes they don't, and you can only control what you can control. So super grateful for that total 180 of an experience from Florida to Notre Dame in terms of how they treat their players, and just the school environment is different, and it was just a total new world in an aspect where I was more grateful to be a part of that Notre Dame family and alumni and do that, and then taking on this new challenge of being a part of Florida and this new opportunity. But it was only for like 6 months. It wasn't even like for a long, wasn't even for a long time. So it was a lot, and I think that I'm just grateful to have those chances to even do something like that. To see that sort of total difference between two places and football and everything included. So it was another step in the challenge bucket, and things didn't quite go as right as what I may have planned. But, the people that I got to meet are people that are playing in the league today and doing great things that I met at Florida, and guys that I was with at Notre Dame doing great things in the league, doing great things after Notre Dame. So the network thing, I mean, if anything, I gained a huge network for a lot of people that I was able to connect with on and off the field, and it was just a good experience.
Wow, that's good. It's great to hear that experience from you. So post Notre Dame and post University of Florida, what was kind of the after effect for you when when it was all said and done? Did you have dreams of going to the NFL, or were you kind of going more of the business route? And if so, like, what does life look like for you after football?
Well, life after football, man, is I obviously wanted to play in the NFL. I got a chance to go to rookie minicamp with my favorite team growing up, which was Jacksonville Jaguars. So it was like a dream come true to be able to go through all that and still have a chance to play for my favorite team. So I got to sum up my football career in that aspect. Yeah, I got to do that. Get into business. It's no different than sports. It's an everyday battle, but it's all about relationships, which I'm, still in and still doing today and learning. And It's a good experience, man. I mean, I can't quite say what the best or worst part is. I
Mhm.
think all of it is it is what it is, but you learn that relationships matter a lot and that your relationships can propel you with the mentorship that we talked about earlier to different heights. And the more you stay connected and have positive relationships and nurture those relationships, the further along you can get. And I feel like I have a far-reaching net of things that I'm open to, and just continuing to keep going. The business aspect of things, I think sports prepare you a good amount for that because it disciplines you in the right ways of what it takes to be goal oriented day by day to get closer to what you want to see as an end result. And so, just applying what I've learned from sports to what I do in business is just one and the same, man. So, just super happy about uh, my ability to have that inner strength to keep going and see where it takes me.
So now we know. So currently, I know you're co-host and the Lucky Lefty podcast, but also you're part of Overtime as well, and kind of getting through that through the networks of networking and relationships.
Yeah, so we filmed a season we did a whole season, like a hard knocks type of deal with Notre Dame,
Mhm.
like my 2015 year I got hurt. So the guys that shot that remember me when they started Overtime. So I was at the birth of Overtime, so to speak. They called me and reached out and wanted me to be a part of it, and it was just a crazy circle of events. So got done with football. I was kind of devastated about how it turned out, and then to get a call from Overtime, and now Overtime is this huge, this huge thing. So, but it jumped me into the media career, and then from Overtime, I got an opportunity to do CBS, which was calling games as a football analyst on TV because one of the agents saw me on the Overtime video, and then carried me to CBS and got me an opportunity with those and with them. And it's crazy. It goes back to Notre Dame and relationships. The head people at CBS are Notre Dame fans, so that made the process a lot easier to get introduced into and got a chance to. I mean, it was a great culmination of events that happened to get me to jumped into the media side of things, and it was a smooth transition. It wasn't like I was just out of football and out of luck. I went from my last mini camp straight into overtime, and then from overtime straight to CBS and doing radio and stuff. So it was I thought it was uh, a great transition from what I thought I wanted to what I end up falling into. So couldn't write a story better than how it ended, quote unquote. But just staying positive. I think staying positive helped me be in that right mind frame to be able to go from straight from football to media and attack and do well at that and try to grow in that way. So just super appreciative.
That's good, showing appreciation and gratitude. So, what would be from your experiences and challenges? What would be some advice you would give to any athlete right now that's dealing with an injury? From your perspective, what would be some words of encouragement or wisdom that you would give to them?
Oh, the one thing that I learned was that you don't become a true pro until you battle back from an injury, especially one that's taking you out for a good amount of time. And so I always took that in stride because you realize that everything is not going to be perfect, and that you have to be able to adapt to just how sports, especially football, is. Like, you're going to get injured, and it's the way you battle back is what gains the respect of people within the sport. Because if you're fortunate enough to not get injured, I mean, hey, you take that as long as you can, but you're really truly judged on how you respond to being injured, and that's like a battle of or a badge of honor. So um, just because you're injured is not over, and you see a lot of success stories of guys that get injured and bounce back and still have great careers. So it's possible, but I would advise everybody to, get a mentor, get somebody that is achieving the success that you want to see, and just stay in the ear and ask a lot of questions, and remaining positive on your own journey is what's important, to keep your head in, because it's easy to get injured and lose your head. There's a lot of guys that don't have a lot of success after they get injured, because it's just such an impactful thing, because it is. I mean, you go from doing everything every day, practice every day with your teammates, to not being able to even be out there. You like on a whole separate, alienated part of the like off. So keeping your head and being mentally tough is the thing that holds you together and gets you through a lot of things. And invest in reading. Read and dive into that mental aspect of what it takes to be great. And that's all the advice I really got for you on that.
So we're going into our last and final question. What advice would you give to our listeners and viewers on their mental health journey?
It's an everyday fight, man. It's not something that you necessarily conquer, where you don't have to ever work on it. It's something you probably work on every day. And it doesn't have to be anything huge, but just the bigger understanding of that, when you know that your mental health is important, the biggest thing you can do is take pride and be grateful for the things that you do to help build on that. And that's staying positive, having great attitude, great effort, and finding mentors that you can talk to that can help sustain that positivity that you have. And then take pride in your mental health. Take pride in the fact that it's not easy to always do the right things all the time. And that life happens, life is going life. And that and at the end of the day is going to end, right? So you can't be upset about bad things that happen to you, because that's life. Bad things are going to happen. But as long as you remember how it's about how you respond to bad things that happen to you is what matters at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Wise words, wise words. Well, Regis recipients, you heard it from Malik right here. Malik, thank you again for taking the time out of your busy day to come and join us and drop your story, your words of wisdom and encouragement to everyone. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Regis recipients, remember, it's okay to not be okay. You matter. It's your boy JD, and I'm out.